couple of more minutes and let others join, and then we'll start the session.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Srivatsa. We have 12 people on the call, and the flow rate is also quite slow. We'll get started. And if more people want to join, let them join. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So good evening, everyone, to the 12 participants who are here. So today we are having a revision session, and how we have planned this is we want to give time to answer your questions. So we are completely open. We'll just give you an overview of what has happened in the first 4 weeks. And then we'll just open up the forum and you can ask us questions for which we'll provide answers. All right. So having said that, from the instructor team, you have two of us, myself, Malolan, and Srivatsa. Both of us are here from the instruction team. Unfortunately, Swaminathan and Jaimini were not able to make it today. But yeah, so you have the two of us. Now coming to the course. So the syllabus for the first quiz that is scheduled on Sunday the 30th is basically weeks 1 to 4. Okay. And this is basically the introductory piece of the course. And what is focused on here is the fundamental concepts of business analytics. So in the first 2 weeks, if I can consolidate both of them together, we are looking at how do you identify data and present data, or how do you identify patterns from the data and how do you present that, right? So with respect to this, in week 1, we saw about projecting a message given a data, and the questions in the practice problems were around that. Then in week 2, we actually start going a bit more deeper. In the sense, we start looking at what are distributions, how what type of distribution fits a given data, or what is the distribution from which the what is the parent distribution from this sample is coming, right? So that is basically a chi-squared goodness of fit, and that is the actual technique. And we saw how do you fit data using your visualizations such as histograms, your PB plot, QQ plot. How do you theorize something and then compare it using these plots? Then how do you actually verify it using your chi-squared goodness of fit test? So that was week 1 and week 2. Then from week 3 and week 4, we started going into more quant, starting off with a bit of regression and its concepts. So Shivat sir, do you want to give an overview of week 3 and week 4?
Yeah, sure, Malalan. So when you come to week 3, what you're looking at is initially how to infer or determine association between categorical variables. And in this regard, you first look at Bayes rule, and then subsequently at the chi-square test of independence. And running into week 4, what we are looking at is the simple linear regression model. So as you would have seen from week 5, it will get more involved. So for example, we have started integrating concepts from economics, and then how you implement a variant of a constant elasticity model using simple linear regression, then a bit of operations research, and then you will subsequently look at different applications of all these with regards to operations or prescriptive analytics per se. So this is how the course will proceed as you move along. So if you have any particular questions with respect to the quiz, I think the quiz is with respect to the first 4 weeks, then we can take it now.
Yeah, and during those 2 weeks, we also saw about chi-squared test of independence, right? So that was what
week 3 was chi-squared test of independence. I think you had covered chi-squared goodness of fit test in week 2, I suppose. Yeah.
So there are basically 2 things that you should understand. So there is something called chi-squared goodness of fit that you were taught, and then there was something called chi-squared test of independence which you were taught. So there are 2 different purposes for that chi-squared test, right? So one is for goodness of fit, where you fit the distribution. The other is for test for independence, how the variables are related or not related, right? So that was the second thing. So that's a small clarification over that. All right. So with that, let's put the floor open to the people here.
Maybe we'll add one more point before opening the floor. So the questions which you can expect in the quiz are mostly, so if you are able to solve questions from the practice assignment, and if you're familiar with the content, I think the quiz should be easy enough for you.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
You agree, Malalan?
Absolutely. So make sure that you have solved all of the practice problem sets that were provided in the first 4 weeks. So that will form the basis for your quiz on Sunday. And yeah, there will be 1 or 2 questions which are just 1 level up. So spend some time to think about what is being asked, then solve those questions, and you should be able to get through them. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Should we ask questions?
Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Okay. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. So, sir, I just need to have a understanding in terms of chi-square test, in terms of independence and the rejection of null hypothesis. Can we have a simple examples with 2 sets, like what exactly our null hypothesis and how we can reject it for the chi-square test, and also the first topic which we discussed on the week 3. So I just want to have a better understanding, if you can just walk through with the simple examples with 2 sets of data. And can we have that, sir? If I can share your screen and guide me on that, please. So
if you would want, you can go through the content again. I will not be running through the content, but to give you a brief overview of what chi-square test of independence is. So what is the null hypothesis in the chi-square test of independence?
Independence of categorical variables.
Right. So that is the null hypothesis in the chi-square test of independence.
Right.
So the alternate hypothesis is that they are not independent and may be dependent. Right. So that is the alternate hypothesis.
Correct, sir.
So what's your question on now? So
So
you
questions
have,
are okay. So my question based on a data set. I have a data somewhere. So
right.
based on data, how we conclude means so your null hypothesis if it is independent. If you can reject the null hypothesis if it is not independent. So how we calculate that value based on the data means based on the data. Actually, I'm just looking for the practical data on perspective.
So
yeah, Shivata, in the practice problem set, we have a
Mhm.
question, right, on test of independence.
Yeah, that's what gives that. Yeah, correct.
So,
that's what I was looking for. Yeah.
Yeah. So the question was, I think, on cities and brand preferences. That was the example discussed during the class. So we will go back to that example. So we have two cities, Chennai and Mumbai.
Okay.
And
Shivata, can you share the screen? The question, so that the question is visible.
So I'm not discussing the question here, Malolan. This is with respect to the lecture.
Oh, okay, fine, fair enough. Yeah, okay,
Right.
Go ahead.
So you have two cities, Chennai and Mumbai, and you are surveying a set of people. Of course, this was a hypothetical data set. And you want to know the brand preferences of people in those cities, right? You want to know whether their brand preferences are independent or they are not independent.
Right.
So that's the problem at hand in front of you. Then what do? You run the chi-square test of independence, and the null hypothesis says that cities and brand preferences are independent. So the city will not matter when people prefer a brand over the other, or they don't prefer a brand over the other. So now the alternate hypothesis is that cities have cities and brand preferences are not independent, and they may be dependent, meaning that for example, people in Mumbai might prefer a certain brand and people in Chennai might prefer a certain brand. Are we able to establish something like this from the data at hand is the question which you are trying to answer. Right?
Yes, yes, correct.
So the next logical step is to look at the chi-square test of independence is one such test which will help you understand whether they are independent or dependent. And the null hypothesis is that they are independent, and you have the alternate hypothesis that they are not independent. So when you run the chi-square test of independence,
yeah, one more thing to add to that, Shivatsa. So the data there is basically going to be Chennai, let's say number of people who prefer brands. That will be the cell value. So if it's a 2x2 matrix, you have Chennai and Mumbai on row 1 and row 2, and let's say brand or no brand on the columns. Then the
sorry to cut you, sir. The way you are talking, I'm just looking for that. Means I just want to look for a matrix in terms of data, and if we can calculate that, if we can just showcase someone's. Yeah, please.
Shivatsa, can you just open an Excel sheet, please?
Yeah, just a second.
And I'll just, we'll do that.
Thank you, sir.
Please hold on, I'll just open.
Answer also if you could visit topics from week 4.
Pardon me?
If also you could visit topics from week 4 about simple regression model and how to use null hypothesis and null hypothesis over there.
Okay, is that covered for them, Shivatsa, in week 4? Do they talk about?
Yeah, so what's the question on in respect to week 4?
In week 4, they are asking us to cover hypothesis testing in simple linear regression. Have we done that for the significance of beta naught and beta 1, or let's say something of that sort?
Yes.
So the null hypothesis in a simple linear regression model, maybe we'll discuss that.
Okay, we'll come to that.
Discuss it. Yeah, we'll come to that.
Okay.
So this was the practice assignment question, right?
Fantastic. Let's take the same question. Yeah. So to answer your question, so science, mathematics, section A, section B. So the question is whether science and mathematics is independent of section A and section B. All right. So the numbers inside, let's say 288, 60, 622, and 204, let's say indicate the number of students in that. In section A who have taken science, section B who have taken science, section A who has taken mathematics, section B who has taken mathematics. Okay. Then is the science and mathematics independent of sections is the question that is asked. So the null hypothesis is yes, they are independent. the alternative hypothesis is no, they are not independent. Okay. So if I now go into an Excel sheet, you can now maybe proceed, Shivatsa, to explain how those values are computed. So you basically take the row totals, column totals, and solve it. We did this last time. We just reiterate now. Yeah, Shivatsa, over to you.
Sure. Okay. So you already have this. So this is the observed value or the sample data which you have at hand. Now what you need to do is you need to calculate the expected frequency. So the expected frequency is calculated as the column total into the row total divided by the total number of respondents here, right? So that is how you calculate this value. Similarly, you will have to calculate each cell, meaning the number of people from section A who have chosen the science-based elective, number of people from section B who have chosen science-based elective, and so on. So these are all the observed values, and these are all the expected values. Intuitively, you could think of expected values as some theoretical distribution. So when you had earlier looked at chi-squared goodness of fit test, what you were doing is you were comparing the observed frequency with a theoretical distribution, right?
Yeah. So
Similarly,
Srivatsa, 1 second. Yeah. So what you're actually trying to say is we have 288 from the sample. All right. In this section, this year, it was 288. Let's say across years, you want something. You do not have that actual data. So you say theoretically, it should have been this number of 269. That is what is the difference between 288 and 269. 269 is the expected value that you will get. Let's say something like the mean value that you will get. But it's not the mean. I'm just giving you drawing a parallel here. And 288 is the actual observation that you have. So now you have 4 values of actual observation, which is 288, 60, 622, and 204. And then you have the expected values for those cells, which is 269, 78, 640, and 185. And now you are basically going to compare whether these 4 numbers in the expected are significantly different from those 4 numbers in the actual or not. If they are not, then the null hypothesis holds true. If they are, the alternative hypothesis is going to be, the null is going to be rejected, and the alternative hypothesis will be assumed to be true.
Sorry, can you repeat the last statement, sir? When the difference is 0, that's what you said.
When the difference is significant. No, it is not 0. When the difference is significant. So it could be significance is what is given by your alpha value. Type 1 error, type 2 error, those will be very technical, but leave that out. But significance is that alpha value at, let's say, 95% significant or 5% significance of 0.05. Alpha is equal to 0.05. At that level of significance, if this difference of, let's say, 269 with 288, 78 with 68, 640 with 622, 185 with, let's say, 204, is that valid or not? Can I say with confidence that I'm going to reject the null or accept the null? Right? So that is where it comes into the question.
So if I rephrase that, if the difference is significant, then we can accept the null hypothesis.
No, if the difference is significant, you will not accept the null hypothesis.
Okay, reject the null.
Because
yes.
You're doing all, because this is all because you're doing all the calculation under the assumption that the null is true. So when you're doing a calculation when something is true and you get a very significant value, then you say you have to reject the null. And that is why the statements for your hypothesis tests are always accept the null or reject the null. It is they never say accept the alternative. It's always accept the null or reject the null. When you reject the null, what
or we say fail to reject the null. So
fail
we don't
to reject the null. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Right?
Now, so now how can we calculate that significant value?
The significance value is basically given to you. Right now, we will not go into those details. We will tell you that the alpha value is, let's say, 5%, and the chi-squared from the values for that 5% from your tables is so much. I believe that is 10.8782 right here. That is your...
No, that's the table value. So what you do
that
is
the table value. That is the table value.
First, you do a chi-square calculated value. So if you have the chi-square calculated value, from that, you can then obtain the p-value.
No. Let's go step by step. So 10.87 is got from the tables, right?
Yes, this is got from the table.
That is got from the tables. That is given to you. That is the given value at a level of significance and a degree of freedom. You have something called the chi-square table, where you will go see and get this value called 10.87. All right, student, you are with me till now?
Yeah, I got it. Yes.
Fantastic. Then for this table, you have calculated a chi-square. Where's the calculated value? 0.005?
No, this is not.
Where is the calculated?
So that given value is our threshold. If it is below, we reject it. If it is below, we accept it.
And if it's below, you do not reject the null. If it's above, you reject the null.
Yeah.
Got it? So that is how you determine.
Okay. So that value will be given, right? We don't need to calculate during the exam.
Which value? The 10.82 will be given.
See, the tabular value will always be given, but the observed minus expected, the whole square by expected, which you submit across all these combinations, that calculation you will have to do.
Yeah, that we will do. Yes, correct. After that,
so that is the computed value. So you have a computed chi-squared, and then you have a chi-squared from the tables, which is given to you, which is 10.87. 10.82. So that given value you will compare with this computed value. You have to do the computations for this and then get it. And then if it is lower, you do not reject the null. If it's higher, you reject the null. Okay?
Yeah. Got it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So from this, you can actually conclude whether section-wise science and mathematics are independent or not independent. Or science-wise, whether sections are independent or not independent, both ways.
There are two ways in which you can conclude. You would be either given the tabulated value, and you'll have to find the value, calculate this chi-squared value, and then compare it with the tabulated value. Or we could directly give you the p-value itself, and we will ask you whether this is significant at a particular alpha level. Then even there, you need to answer appropriately. Right, so the questions could be of either kind. So Kiran has raised his hand.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I just wanted to ask, like in the practice assignments, will the p-value and the significance value given will be given in the test?
If we have any question with respect to the p-value, we will give you those p-values, right? So you'll not be asked to compute the p-values from a table or something like that. So if it is going to be a tabulated value which is going to be given to you, then you'll have to compare it with the computed. You have to compute the chi-squared value and compare it with the tabular value and then comment.
Okay, sir. So like in the practice assignment, we just have to calculate the calculated value and compare it with the tabular value and solve the question, right?
Yeah, solve it and conclude on what you do with the hypothesis. Whether you fail to reject or you reject the null hypothesis.
Right, sir. Thanks.
Okay.
And these doubts are coming because I believe in the course we have not gone into the technical portion of how you take a table and compute that value. But yeah, those values will always be given to you. And in fact, from those values, you can also get the p-value, which is also not part of your level course, right? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on this particular topic?
I was really confused with like the p-value and the significance level, right? So what I understood was that if you have a different significance level, then sometimes you reject the p-value even if it is less. Or could you please elaborate on that?
Wonderful. I will just explain that very briefly.
Yes, sir.
So what will happen is you will choose a significance level. Let's say you choose a alpha value of 0.05. Then you have a computed chi-squared value, correct? Let's say you are computing from this table, you are computing a chi-squared value. For that chi-squared value, you will go to a chi-squared table at a degrees of freedom. So you have p minus k minus 1 degrees of freedom, whatever is based on the given data. You will go to that table of this thing. Let's say your chi-squared table of so many degrees of freedom. In that, you will locate your computed chi-squared. And for that, you will get a number of, let's say, a value less than 1, so between a 0 point something. Let's say that value is 0.04, then you will come, that is the value you are getting, and that is the p-value, and you will compare that p-value with your alpha to make a call. Okay, so that is p-value technique.
And so p-value will be calculated using chi-squared method, right?
P-value will be calculated using your computed chi-squared. Correct.
Like the
So maybe you can look at this example in the practice assignment. It will give you an idea. So what do you see here? At a significance level 0.05, you reject the null because your chi-square tabular value is only 3.84. When it's 0.01, you again reject the null. But when I say the significance level is too low, you fail to reject the null. So what this means is this 0.05 significance level can be otherwise looked at as 95% confident. So when I ask you how confident are you, you say 95% I'm confident that I reject the null. Here 99% I'm confident that I reject the null. But when I even move a step further, I think this is 99.9% if I'm right. But in that case, you are not able to reject the null. You get the point?
Right.
And your p-value you will basically compare with the 0.05. So what will happen? Your p-value will be greater than 0.05.
What is the p-value in this case?
P-value is basically the probability of observing a sample, observing the given sample, when the null hypothesis is assumed to be true.
So in this case, I think the p-value was 0.005.
It's a kind of a border between the accepting and rejecting, right?
Yeah. So since 0.005 is too small than 0.05, you reject it here. You reject it again here. But 0.005 is greater than this value here, significance level. Therefore, you fail to reject.
Okay.
Making sense?
All right.
So understand the p-value. There are two techniques.
P-value.
Pardon me?
Could you just tell me how do we calculate the p-value?
That is not in scope for your course, so we are not looking at it.
Of this course.
Right?
To just give you an idea of what it is that computed value of chi-squared, and from that you can obtain the p-value.
Sir, but if if chi-square test value is given and the calculated value is given, then how can we conclude about the confidence level? That is it 0.5?
When I give you the tabular value, it is for a certain confidence level with certain degrees of freedom, right?
Read the question. At a significance level of 0.05, the chi-square tabular value is 3.84. So the 0.05 will give you that confidence of 95% confidence or significance level of 5%.
So when I look at the table for 0.01, the tabular value is different. So the tabular value changes with alpha.
At that degrees of freedom.
Yes.
So let's say tabulated value of a chi-square test be 8.25 and the calculated value be 19.7. Then how can we conclude about the, the p-value can be in which range?
At what significance level? At what significance level? No, you have told me some value of 8 point something, right? That was at what significance level? That is the question. So you would have found that for, let's say, 0.01 or 0.05 or 0.001, whatever, 1% or 5% or 10%, whatever it is. So what you will conclude is, since the computed value of, let's say, 19 is what I think you said, so 19 is greater than your tabulated value of 8 at a significance level of 0.05, you reject the null hypothesis. That will be the conclusion.
Okay.
Making sense?
Yes, sir.
Like so in the given question, like if you see question number 4, it says at the significance level, that is alpha, if I'm right. Alpha is 0.05 and chi-squared value is given as 3.84. So p-value will be 3.84.
No.
Okay.
P-value is nowhere to be seen in this question.
Okay.
P-value will always be a number less than or equal to 1.
Okay, fine. So like if you have this
p-value is calculated from this table. So you compute chi-squared, right? From that p-value is calculated. This is something like theoretical thing. You are inferring about a population from a given sample, and that sample is this. So you get a p-value for this sample and compare it against this significance level or this tabular value. This is something which you don't decide. It's already there.
Okay. So like I still did not understand on how to do the question. We are given alpha and we are given the chi-square value.
Right.
Correct.
After that, what do you do?
Correct. Now you have given the alpha, you have given a chi-squared value.
Yes, sir.
You compute the chi-squared value for this table that is given here.
Yeah, we can calculate it. All right.
You can calculate it. Once you get that calculated value, you will say if that calculated value is less than 3.84, then you will not reject the null at a significance level of 0.05. If it is greater than 3.84, you will reject the null. Okay. So in this case, it will be greater than 3.84. So the answer should be reject the null hypothesis that the categorical variables are independent. Then you will go to the next question. In the next question, we are telling at a significance level of 0.01, the tabulated value is 6.63. Your value is again greater than 6.63. So you will say reject the null hypothesis that the categorical variables are independent. Then go to the next question. At a significance level of 0.01, the tabulated value is 10.83. Your value is less than 10.83. So you will fail to reject the null in this third question. Okay.
All right. So to sum up that, if you are given a p-value, then you have to look at the significance level. However, if you're not
p-value, no p-value, please forget p-value. No p-value. If you are given a tabulated chi-squared value, you will compare the tabulated chi-squared value with your computed chi-squared value.
On the basis of that, we can conclude that if it is less than 3.84, we are not going to reject the null hypothesis.
Correct.
First question, right? All right.
Correct.
So the significance level doesn't play a significant role over here, right?
The significance level plays a role in that 3.84 because as significance level changes, your chi-squared tabulated value increases. Look at that.
Yes, so right.
That is where the significance level comes. You can always calculate a chi-squared value, or else you can always find a chi-squared value from the table for a given significance level and a given degrees of freedom. So for that only it's given here. Yeah.
Like somewhere on the video I saw on this particular concept. Tell me if I'm wrong, or if I picked up wrong. It says that if p-value is less than a significance level.
Correct. That is
the null hypothesis.
Yeah, that is the next thing. So at a significance level of 0.05, for the computed chi-squared, sorry, let me rephrase. For the computed chi-squared, from the data you are calculating chi-squared, for that calculated chi-squared, you will go to the table at degrees of freedom and find a p-value. And that p-value you will compare with 0.05 or 0.01 or 0.001. And then you will find out a number. And then you will say that. You get the two difference. At that point in time, you are comparing the p-value with the significance level. Here you are comparing the computed chi-squared with the theoretical chi-squared.
We are comparing two chi-square values.
So there are two different techniques altogether.
So these are two different ways of approaching a question.
The one is called the p-value technique, which is not extensively covered for you, but it's just introduced. The second is called a confidence interval level technique. What you are doing is a confidence interval level technique. Okay, where you compare the computed chi-squared with the theoretical chi-squared. All right, two different techniques. Do not confuse them.
No, I still didn't get where we are going to use that significance level 0.05 in our calculation, actual calculation.
In your calculation, you will not use. That is what we are trying to say. In your calculations, it's not of use. It is a given information for you. At a significance level, you will get the theoretical chi-squared. Since you're not going into looking at the table and taking a theoretical chi-squared, that significance level is not going to be a part of your calculations. It's a given information.
So indirectly, if there is an answer saying 90% confidence, we can say yes.
Now, indirectly, there's this answer. What I don't understand.
If I say at significance level 0.05 and given the chi-square number and mine is fitting to it, means it's below that.
That is all. Yeah, that is all. Then 0.05 means it's 95% confidence, not 90%.
If the answer is saying, are you 90%, 5% at least confident, then I can say yes.
Not 5% confidence. You are 95% confident.
95%, yeah, 95%.
95% confident, 5% significance. Yes, correct. Correct. That is all. All right. Okay. So there was a question on the chat, which also came up in the discourse about minimum data requirement for fitting distributions. Okay. So when it comes to distribution fittings, when we are following the procedure told according to the video, let's say you are going to fit a histogram, then we are going to talk about test of significance. Usually we prefer around 30, but you can still do all of the tests without 30 number of observations, not a problem. Okay. So when you say I have lesser than that, I am not aware of your assignment. So can you please be more specific? What is the minimum sample size required to make a valid guess? Because in the graded assignment provided based on week 2, the data set provided is very small. How small is the data set? It should be possible to solve because we have solved it and given it to you. So what do you mean by that? Kaur, Harshpreet Kaur, can you please turn on your audio and let us know?
Hello, hi, sorry, I got disconnected. Could you please repeat?
Yeah, your question. Have you posted that question?
Yes, I have posted it. Actually,
right.
I was the sample size in our assignment is 10, which according to me was very less to make confusion.
Okay.
So I was just wondering whether there is a minimum sample size for making valid inferences about it.
Usually in real world scenarios, it should be around 30. N can be 30. But since we are given controlled tests with 10 points, you should be able to infer. With 10 points, what you will find, I cannot give you the answer because if that is, you can still plot a histogram. Then you can still check your, let's say, mean, your descriptive statistics, and then do the chi-square test of goodness of it. You will get a solution. Follow all 3 distributions and you will be able to fit it. But in real world scenarios, usually the number is 30. Since we are working on a controlled environment, we have given you 10, it should work. Okay, I can't tell you more than this because that's a graded assignment.
And could you please brief a bit about how to infer the histograms, taking examples apart from the assignment?
Taking examples apart from the assignment. Okay, I will go back to the demonstrations that we did. All right. If you go to the demonstrations, if it's what we would have said is from a histogram, we can basically infer whether it's a Gaussian or non-Gaussian. We cannot infer whether it's symmetric or non-symmetric. There's a difference. What do you mean by Gaussian or non-Gaussian? In a Gaussian distribution, or let's say normal distribution in layman terms, you will have one peak and it will come down. That is all. There will be only one peak in your histogram. Then those are Gaussian distributions. If you do not have one peak, if you have 2 or 3 peaks, and if it's almost flat, then it can be a symmetric distribution, any symmetric distribution. It could be a Poisson, it could be a uniform or any other symmetric distribution. Since you know uniform, I'm just giving you. So that would be the case. Let's say you had, it was also not evenly distributed throughout. Let's say the pillars were not almost same. It had, let's say, skewness to one side or the other side or something of that sort with 2 or 3 peaks. Then you can confirm that it's a Poisson distribution. Predominantly, it's a non-symmetric, non-Gaussian distribution. So for you guys, we have thought only Poisson. So you can confirm on Poisson and proceed. All right.
So can we like get notes of, can the IT Madras share notes regarding on how to identify the distributions?
We have given you tutorials, right? All the 3 tutorials are for that. 3 distribution, 3 data sets, 3 tutorials were for that purpose.
Yes, so those are given, but I think it would be a little better to understand and revise if we are given.
Based on that, you can create your own. No? Now I've actually told you.
That I got really confused on creating on how to identify the different data sets.
Okay, maybe not before your quiz. We'll think about it, and we'll get back to you on this requirement. But as part of the, when we get requests like this for this course and in BDM, as part of the course, it is actually your duty to create all of these notes for yourself.
I'm creating those notes for myself.
We can't spoon feed everything, right?
Yes, but there are certain concepts which are much better when they are understood on a PDF kind of format rather than in the videos.
All right, fine, fair enough. We'll see what we can do.
Like memorizing the type of, like seeing the distribution, seeing the curve and telling the type of distribution. So I think that would be a little better that if you're given.
That will come with experience. The more data you plot and you see, it will come with experience. No?
Yes.
So, but we'll see I'll think about what we can do about that PDF request.
That's why won't you give a mock
before
test?
The quiz, it will not be possible, or before the assignment, it may not be possible. But we will see what can be done.
And why won't we given a mock test for business analytics?
This time we were not able to provide a mock test for 2 reasons. One, we didn't get sufficient time to do it. That is number 1. And number 2 is, since these are all basic contents for weeks 1 and for quiz 1 and quiz 2, we didn't want to be, very much going at the basic level of giving you a mock test. But for the final exam, there will be a mock test over there. Yeah, because that covers more extensive concepts across the course. So for that, we'll give you a mock test, and then we will give you this thing. What is
There's
the final
going to
exam?
be a quiz 2?
Yes, quiz 1 and quiz 2, the best of the two will be taken. Both are
was not-
syllabus 1 to 4.
It's decided. No, it was not announced, I believe.
No, it is given in your grading data set, grading pattern. Please check. We gave it in the beginning of the course only.
No, I think during the onboarding.
In both there is quiz 1 mentioned.
No. There is only quiz. Basically, there's going to be 2 versions of the same quiz. Quiz 1 and quiz 2, both are for week 1 to week 4. And the best of the 2 will be taken. This is the grading pattern that we had given at the beginning of the course itself.
No, I think. See, I've done
quizzes
BDM
are
already.
the same syllabus.
One second, yeah.
I've done the BDM already. I am familiar with that. But with the BA in the orientation session, it was not there. It was
just please go check, because I believe in the grading document it was given. I will also do a check. Maybe in the orientation we would not have told you, but during the this thing we did grading document we had given.
Yeah, earlier it was only one quiz, but later I think it was decided to give 2 quiz and best of 2. That's what I. Yeah.
Okay, just check. Yeah, in the very beginning it was decided. Since we are running it, running through several iterations, I do not know whether it came to you as a second or as a first. Yeah, but it is fixed. 2 quizzes, both weeks 1 to week 4, similar to BDM. If those who, all of you would have done BDM, right? So similar to BDM, weeks 1 to 4, 2 quizzes, best of the 2 will be taken. 3 assignments. The first one is given, second one will come, and third one will come, and then you have a final exam. Yeah, that is for the entire content. Yeah.
Both quizzes will have the same syllabus.
Same syllabus, weeks 1 to 4. Because if you miss this quiz, then don't miss it. It's not what I'm recommending, but let's say because of the pandemic, someone is missing. We do not want them to lose that mark. So we are having a same syllabus for the second thing. Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you. And so the questions that are given in the assignment, almost like 40 questions in total, more or less, for all 4 practice assignments. Would that be enough for covering the quiz?
Yeah. That should be. Am I on mute? No. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So that should be enough. That should be sufficient. We have given you sufficient practice problems. So, like I said, the quiz will 80 to 90% match exactly what is given to you. There will be that 10 to 15% variation where the question will be 1 step above. That is to test your understanding of a few concepts. It could be from let's say, from your tutorials, based on something that we told in tutorials, based on something that we told during live sessions. If you are attending this, if you have seen all of this, then you should be able to answer that 10 to 15%, which is a bit more higher level. Yeah.
All right, sir.
And so we were given a formula for skewness. It was 3 into mean minus median upon standard deviation. But when I checked it with the distribution which was given in a graded assignment, the one which I was getting from Python or Excel and the one which I calculated using the formula were not matching. They were nowhere close.
Okay, for the graded assignment, I have to take my calculations and see. I'm not able to do that since I'm stuck outside. That is why I have not been able to share my screen or turn on my video. So I'll have to check that, but it should match. It should match. So please just re-verify your work and maybe write to me on the discourse forum, myself and Swaminathan. So one of us should be able to answer that, but we will not answer that as long as the assignment is active, because the purpose of such things in your assignment is so that you explore and you get something. So we'll not answer that right now, but after the assignment closes, I'll be able to answer your question. All right.
But it should match, right?
It should match. It should match.
And
theoretical number.
What is the threshold for skewness to determine whether it is the distribution is symmetric or not?
Come on, these things I cannot answer to you before your assignment. So please revisit our this thing.
So the kind of questions that are in the graded assignment, we won't get such questions in the quiz then?
No, the graded assignment you have to solve with a computer. The quiz you have to solve with a calculator. That's a difference.
But let's say suppose it won't be like you give a histogram and you tell us to guess the distribution, right?
I can't tell you that now.
Because that is what I'm having doubts in actually.
No, if the difference between an assignment and a question that is in the quiz maybe would be the assignment question. Since you are giving you more time, you should be able to think about it for some time, sleep over it, and then come back, look at other sources and answer. In the let's say in a quiz, if I give you such a question, you should be able to immediately relate it to a concept and answer. It will not be that you can't refer content from somewhere else. So it will not be so difficult. You cannot compare an assignment question with a quiz question. The assignment question is meant to make you work. The quiz question is meant to test your understanding. That's the difference. Yeah. So yeah.
Right. Thank
so
you.
Even if I give you a histogram and ask you to answer it, you should be able to answer it, provided you know these things, basic things of what is the Gaussian, non-Gaussian, what is symmetric, non-symmetric. That should be enough. Yeah.
Okay.
And you are facing all of these problems because you have got a data set which has only 10 points. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, I did not get the last part.
You are getting all of these questions because you have got a data set which has small sample size of 10.
Exactly.
That is why. But good, yes, that is the entire purpose of giving you such a data set for exploration, right? To learn. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, the formula for skewness is slightly different in some books. Like there is something called Pearson's skewness, which is just without the factor of 3, which I think the previous speaker was talking about. And here, when I checked on the internet, it is some places it is given 3 into mean minus this factor of 3 is involved. So what is the final thing?
No. Whatever is taught in your course, please stick to that because there are different techniques to measure skewness. All right. So whatever is taught to you in your course, I'm not able to recall immediately what is being said, but stick to that, please.
Skewness
there are several techniques
talked about in the lectures. Like skewness, like you have worked. Sir, skewness you haven't really mentioned anywhere in the lecture, like the formula and all. I just had to look it up. Otherwise, it was just talked about in the tutorials sections which you have.
Then that is the purpose, just to introduce it to you, because skewness has several ways of calculations, like you have said. And in fact, in statistics, if you go out there, you will find several techniques about the same thing. Test of normality could be done in several ways, right? So there'll be a lot of concepts. So please stick to whatever was told. If we have not gone in depth for a particular thing, it is basically because it's not at this level of the course. So that is why. So that is in fact one of the reasons why when the previous person asked me with the formula, I was actually thinking whether we have introduced the formula to you, but we have confirmed that we have not given it to you. So that is how it works. So when we calculate skewness, maybe whatever we have done might be different from whatever you are getting because of the way in which the skewness is calculated in your particular package. So those could be some small variations, but yeah. So please stick to exactly what is covered in your course. Do not, you can explore. We are most welcome to explore and ask us questions, but during the course, we have limited our scope to a certain limit, given that it's a BSc program, right? It's the basic program. So we have started off at that level. I hope I've answered your question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Sir, another doubt from practice assignment week 4, question 3. There, the question is saying which of the following are the properties of a demand response curve for a single seller, single product market. So, yeah, so the curve remains the same for a single product also, right?
The week 4 practice assignment was designed by Gemini. So if you could just post this question in the discourse and tag him, he'll be able to answer it. Since I've not seen the question, I'm not able to answer it right now. All right. So please post it in the discourse, and Gemini will get back to you on that particular question before the quiz. He'll get back to you before the quiz. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Because the doubt in this was the demand response curve should remain same for everything, right? For all the cases. But here in the options, when you mark convex downwards, that the curve is convex downwards, right? So, but when we see the accepted answers, then this option is not showing up. So that was my question.
I have to see the question and the options, all of them, to comment, since I have not seen it and I have not prepared it as well. So since I have not prepared it, I have not seen it. So it might be better if Gemini answers it, right? So I do not want to intervene into this thought process.
Yes,
yeah.
Sir.
So
yes,
please
sir. I'll
tag
just tag
Gemini.
you and Gemini, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can just tag both of us, myself, Milo, and Gemini, and one of us will get back to you on that. Yeah.
Sure,
Okay.
sir. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions in the chat that I missed?
So if you could go to the practice assignment number 4 for week 4.
Week 4.
Yes, sir, practice assignment. I'll tell you the question number.
Which one? The doubt that was asked right now.
No, sir. Actually, I have a different doubt.
Okay. Shivatsa, maybe you can open it. We can try to solve it.
Like the question is that the very first question of practice assignment is about latent demand and all that. I mean, in which particular week did we cover that concept?
It should have been covered in week 4. Like I said, since I've not developed these questions,
All right, so
I do not know. I've not seen.
And if we could just do question number 4 and 5, because I am still very much pretty confused about elasticity. I mean, though that particular concept is not very clear with me.
4 and 5.
Yes,
go
so
up.
we have to calculate elasticity, but
the price of okay.
Yeah.
Did you take BDM by any chance?
Yes, I took BDM. I somehow did that question during that time. Yeah, I did that
no.
question.
Did you have access to the practice assignment? Do you have access to the practice assignment?
I think I must have the access.
So this question is actually from there, exactly the same question. So this, since I prepared, I can answer it right now. All right. Okay, so you have been given a price P1 and the quantity Q1. And again, you have given the price P2 and quantity Q2. Okay. Right. So P1 is 3 and the P2 is 3.75. Q1 is 10 and Q2 is 8. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are asked to calculate what is elasticity of Aditya's demand. Aditya's demand elasticity, this is going to be price elasticity. So Q2 minus Q1 by Q1 divided by P2 minus P1 by P1. That is going to give you a value, and that is the answer. I believe it should be 0.8. Yeah, 0.8. And it will be a positive number because you have to take the modulus of price elasticity.
So it is Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q1, right?
Q1, yeah.
Okay, the change, okay, fine.
Percentage change in quantity by percentage change in
quantity
price.
divided by percentage change in price. All right.
That will give you.
I was applying a wrong formula. I was doing Q2 minus Q1 by P2 minus P1.
It's percentage change. It's not quantity change. So it will be. It will actually come minus 0.8, and price elasticity for interpretation purposes, you take only the positive value because quantity always decreases in nature when price increases. That was a discussion that we had during that course. So it will be 0.8. When you're doing computations, you have to take the minus sign. But because, well, let's say I've asked you to find what is Q2, then the sign matters. If not, you take the mod value and then proceed. So it's 0.8 is your answer. Yeah. Okay.
Does the faculty has any PDF like for all the 4 practice assignment questions clubbed up into one PDF?
Sorry, what do you
would we be provided with the questions of all the practice assignment clubbed into one single PDF?
Oh no,
is there some way that I can access that?
We don't have that. You have to solve it from each of these. Yeah.
All right, sir.
Okay.
Sir, just now you mentioned that sometimes we have to put the mod and sometimes we don't have to. Can you repeat that part?
What I said was, whenever you're calculating the price elasticity, you will calculate the number that is required. It could be minus 0.8 or it could be plus 0.8. Whatever number you get by doing that percentage change divided by percentage change in price. Okay. That number you have to calculate. When you are entering the answer for elasticity, it will always be mod value. But let's say I've given you a price elasticity and you're trying to calculate quantities. At that time, the sign matters because based on the sign, the quantity will either increase or decrease. Okay. For computation purposes, it's required. For when you are putting the elasticity value, you need to take only the mod value or the absolute value. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, someone else was
and
asking.
the question which I was referring to is just here. If you could just scroll up, the question 3. Question 3 I was asking.
Question 3. Which of the following are the properties of a demand response curve for a single seller, single product market? Non-negative, continuous, differentiable, and convex down. What is the answer that is given?
All first 3.
Non-negative, continuous, and differentiable is given. And your question is it cannot be convex. Why is it not convex down? Correct?
Yes, sir. It should be convex down also, because if you see the curve, it's obviously convex down.
Demand response curve.
So this is one seller and only one seller.
One product.
Yeah,
so,
one product.
How can it be convex is something that I'm also wondering. Since you're telling me that it has to be convex down, not necessary. It'll be non-negative. It'll be continuous. It'll be differentiable. It need not be convex down. Yeah, it need not be convex down. Since it's only one seller, you will not have that convex property coming in. Yeah, it need not be convex down. So, but yeah, like I said, I will ask Gemini to respond to this. It need not be, because it's one seller, one product.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So I will ask Gemini to respond to this. Pardon me?
Does it become linear? So does the curve become linear for this particular case, or
it need not be, but it will not be convex down. That is what I'm trying to. Okay, like I said, I will not get into this because I do not want to, give my opinion when the question was framed by someone else. I would like Gemini to answer this question. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let Gemini take it up. Yeah.
Sir, I have one question. You talk about that some of the topics we discuss on other call, means other discussions, so which we are not. I haven't joined some of the calls. So if you just can brief me, like what kind of those discussion, if you can just summarize things which we haven't covered in the videos and the assignments, just to have a better understanding, like what we expect. You have already discussed something.
I don't follow. Oh, discourse forum, huh?
No. What I'm saying that you said that some of the 15% questions were not actually with the graded assignments. Some have been already discussed in some of the calls.
During our live videos, previous videos, we might have asked something. So you'll have to go and verify. I mean, nothing is coming out of the top of my head. I only remember the questions that I created, and it will not be fair for me to tell out those. So, so it would have been discussed in one of those live videos, is what I'm trying to say. So since they are there, please go have a look at it. Because I have created one question, it is given, it will come in that 15%. I will remember the concept that was discussed, but I cannot give you that as an example here. It becomes blatantly open, right?
Yeah, that's fine. No problem, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So that will be better if you go there and check.
Yeah, sure.
But please do go through all of them, and also go through the tutorial videos. Because that is from where one of the content comes. I can't tell you anything more. I've already given too much. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions?
Before, I mean, in Medium, we had given some feedback already on the TCS Ion Center's experience. So this time, is it taken care of, these numbers and all being two decimal?
Okay. What we have done is we have ensured that the question paper is sufficiently long that you need not require any more than 1 hour. Decimal points, it is very, very difficult for a course like BA to ensure that the decimals do not come, because there will be a lot of
decimals is coming okay, but it should not be like more than 3 digits or 4.
No, the decimals will show. The calculator might show you 10 decimals, but you round it off. We have made sure that we have rounded off everything to 1 or 2 or 3. The question will have that. If we have said the intermediate points, round it off to 2 decimals and calculate, then round it off each individual point to 2 decimals and do the calculation. All right. Okay. And it might be better if you use that pen and paper given in TCS Ion to note down whatever value is coming in between. All right. Do that, because for example, these chi-squared calculations have a lot of intermediate values. Let's say you have given a 2 by 2 matrix, you'll have to calculate another 2 by 2 matrix entries. So please note it down in a paper and then do it step by step. Do not think that, okay, I will put it in a calculator, in one stretch, the entire thing. It's a difficult task in TCS Ion.
I don't think anybody is taking that risk with TCS calculator.
Correct. So please ensure that you do the calculations and note it down. When you're noting it down, round it off to maximum 3. We have not gone anything beyond maximum 3, and we have made sure that we have given you sufficient range answers, so it should be captured. But do give us your feedback after the course as well. We have tried to incorporate as much as possible, but it might happen that some points we may have overstepped without knowing. It's not intentionally that we want to make you suffer with 10 decimals. It is just that when we are doing this entire process for the entire question paper, some points may get missed. Do highlight it. We'll incorporate in the next quiz and so on and so forth.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Questions like related to the graded assignment, like estimating the distribution and all, like you give a data set or a histogram or something, and we have to identify that.
That is what I told you. No, there's a difference between your assignment and your quiz. The assignment is meant for you to explore more understanding of your concept. The quiz is meant for testing your understanding of, or not testing your knowledge. So there'll be difference. So the assignment questions, a few can come. Let's say something, since most of you are referring to giving you a histogram and asking you to infer, that we might give you. But when we give you that, it will not be such confusing scenarios as in your assignment. It will be much more clear, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So the questions will be much more clear.
Okay, yeah, I got it. And just another technical question which I had, like you can't get out of center before 2 hours, before the completion of 2 hours, right? So is it possible to attempt the paper for like more than 1 hour or something?
Yeah. I don't know how it usually works like this. If you have registered for 2 courses, you are given 2 hours. You could spend 45 minutes for course 1 and 1 hour 15 for the course 2.
I think from last,
yeah.
I think from last exam they have given custom timers for everyone. Before it was general for all.
Okay. No, from what I hear from the course team, it's like this. If you have registered for 3 courses, you are given 3 hours. You can solve 2 question papers in that, 3 question papers in that. That is up to you. 1 question paper in that. That is up to the student. If you have registered for 2 courses, you will get 2 hours. So that is how it works. That is how TCI Ion works. Before that, if you cannot come out, that I do not know. But you will be given that entire 2 hours for the 2 question papers that you are supposed to solve. If you have registered for two courses, you can split the time however you want.
Yes, sir, but I have actually only 1 course. The other one is tools in data science. That doesn't have a quiz. So I was just confused, like if we can't get out of
1 hour. So you'll be given 1 hour for solving that. I do not know whether you can come out in 45 minutes if you are finished. That I am not sure of. That I have to get back to you. If you post it in the discourse, I will ask the support team and I'll answer that maybe over there.
Okay, then. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. All right. TDS revision is from 8 to 9. If you want to log off and go join there, not a problem. Please proceed. Yeah, this is all we had for this 1 hour. Hope it was helpful. All the best for your quiz.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks. Okay, so I believe we have come to the end. We can log off. Shweta, do you have anything else or we'll wind up?
No, Malavan, we can wind up.
All right, okay. Pod team, thank you for arranging the session and we can wind up. We can end the meeting. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.